Okay, we're here to talk about Conn's Supply. We both worked there in the early 90s, and I was there until the early 2000s, I think 2003. And we're here just to reminisce and tell some stories.
Yeah, I guess I started 89, 90. I think I was 17.
And I remember I had just graduated, and I just pretty much wanted to sleep. And you told my parents you knew where I could get a job, and I was like, oh, great.
Well, you came in a few times. You would come into Conn's.
Probably just to talk to you for a second.
Yeah, and I would be sweeping, remember?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, and when you came in, I went all the way to the toy side of Conn's, because that way Paulie or Gabe didn't see us bullshitting.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit, and then, man, I don't even know how. We needed an extra guy, and I told Paulie I know somebody that might be interested.
Yeah, and there it was.
And then I contacted you. So when was that though? About because I was
92.
there.
It was like the month after I graduated, maybe July.
All right, yeah, and I was there in 1990.
Yeah, and that was July of like 92.
So I forget how that whole process went down though. Like Paulie contacted. Did he contact you guys?
I think he told me just to go in and ask for a job.
Yeah. I know. I was 17. And I was racing real control cars, and my dad was getting kind of tired of buying all the stuff for me all the time. He says, I think you need to go get a job. And Uncle Paulie, I called him Uncle Paulie, he was like my great uncle, but he said, why don't you give him a call and see if he can give you a job. And I remember the first day, I got the nerve to finally call Conn's and say, hey, do you guys have a job opening? Gabe answers, Gabe Penless, the owner, well, co-owner. He said, well, Paulie's in Italy. You have to call back in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh man, I was so disappointed though, because I actually wanted to work and get money. So I waited, and Paulie came back from Italy, called him up, and he said, can you start on Monday? So I came. That's when I started. Somewhere, I think it was 1990. Can't remember what month or whatever.
I was July of 92, and I remember my first day there. Bankus said, you're going to catch hell, boy. I hope you can take it. And I was thinking, what the hell did Larry get me into? And then, also on my first day, that customer Bogner, the guy they called Fifi, he came in, and I was like, can I help you? He says, no, I want somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. And I'm thinking, oh man, what kind of job is this?
I remember you getting a hold of me, and you're like, dude, what did you get me into? It's crazy, wasn't it?
But that's how it all started for us, and the stories we're going to tell you on this video are just experiences we had there. Some of them are really funny.
It was a crazy time.
Yeah, well, the 90s were the best decade of our lives, really.
Man.
So
it's just a lot of characters that came into that store. That's what made it fun. When I first started, I was nervous as hell. Walked in, you know, Paulie, grab a dust rag and start dusting. That was your first job, is to just start going around dusting all these products that like never sell. So I just started dusting, and then I was supposed to, when a customer came in, I was supposed to, you know, ask him if he needed any help, which I tried to avoid for the first week or two, because I didn't want to, you know, as soon as I heard a customer come in, I'd go dust somewhere, bend down somewhere low so nobody could see me. Pray to God that Bankus was out front, Darwin Bankus. And then hopefully he weighed on him. So with all those guys there, I felt kind of out of place, and you know, that's when I was like, man, I need to get a friend in here, you know, or something. So that's when I got hold of you.
Like I said, I had just graduated, and I pretty much just wanted to sleep, and Larry's like, hey, you want a job?
Yeah.
And really, I didn't, but my parents pressured me into taking it, so that's how I ended up there.
But yeah, I mean, like, even before you showed up, there was always a cast of characters that would come in.
Yeah. That
would either make the day fun for you, or just make it absolute hell for you. Either one.
Well, when I came in, that Rob Hearn must have left, because he was there before me.
Yeah, that's true. Rob Hearn. He's a few years older than us, I guess, right?
I think he's close to our age, actually.
Yeah, he worked there. Rob wouldn't help me out much though at all, like when I first started. So yeah, there was Paulie, Gabe, Darwin Bankus, and Rob Hearn, and then me. And Rob, yeah, but you know, not throwing Rob under the bus, but he wouldn't. He just wouldn't really help me with the products. I didn't know plumbing. I didn't know electrical. I was just so like, you know, I was so lost that I felt like I shouldn't be there. But you learn hardware as you go on. So
That's just like Ace. It was a lot to learn, but I'm catching on now.
So the funny thing is, Cons had like a electronic cash register, but they also had that old-fashioned one.
Yeah.
Remember that thing?
But even with either register, you had to actually count the change. They never told you the change. You had to actually count it back, which I kind of got used to, and I actually liked that better, really.
Well, when Paulie was trying to train me, he goes, "Hey, it's time to learn how to count change," you know. And I was like, "Man, can I not run the register at all? I'll weigh on the customers, but I don't want to run the registers." And he's like, "No, you're gonna learn." And I was like so nervous. Like I didn't know how to do it. Like you think you know how to do it, but he's like, "Okay, here's the product costs $14.75. I'm gonna give you $20.75. What do you give me back now?" Or whatever, you know. And you're just like, I was so nervous, but. Yeah.
Tape man.
He's one of the early ones, yeah.
He would wear that patch on his eye, and he would have that breathing like.
Yeah, where did he live? Did he live around?
He had to live around there, but we call him Tape Man. You want to tell the story, or
No,
he
go ahead.
he bought a bicycle at Cons, and he went home and cut it up with a hacksaw, and he taped it back together with electrical tape. And to this day, we still don't know why he did that, but it forever earned him the name Tape Man.
Yeah, he bought a lot of electrical tape. He'd come in and
brand
buy
new bike, cut it up and taped it back together.
and rode it.
Yeah.
I mean, he rode the bike around.
He was really creepy. He would wear this patch and just a creepy looking guy. But that was Tape Man.
He would come in, I need electrical tape. I don't think he used anything else but that.
And then there was Mr. Hobby.
Yeah, Mr. Hobby was
I remember
a character.
He'd come in with that, his wife, I guess, or girlfriend?
Girlfriend, then wife, and then divorced.
Yeah, and I remember still remember him telling that story, how he was it in New York or Philadelphia, and he said he got mugged, and he went back down and mugged the guy that mugged him and took his money back, plus the guys.
Yeah, it was a long story, but
that was the gist of it.
Yeah, it was a good one though.
Yeah.
The way he told it was.
I don't remember the exact items he used to buy. I know it was hobby stuff because we called him Hobby.
A lot of train stuff. Always interested in the model trains and even the model cars sometimes. Sort of looked like a Jim Carrey, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. Yeah.
With a mustache.
Yeah. Tall, skinny guy.
Yeah.
Funny as hell though when he came in, and it was actually, that's what I was saying. Some customers are cool to have come in. He was one of them that I didn't mind because he would take you back to the train side for at least an hour.
Yeah.
So that was either good or bad because sometimes he'd come in right when Paulie left for dinner. Paulie would leave for dinner around 5, I think, and he'd come back what, 6
or 6:30.
And I remember Mr. Hobby would come in, and I'd be like, "All right, we'll go back to the train side and talk for like an hour." And Paulie would come back from break, and he'd look back there and see us talking, and he'd get so upset that
he'd do that.
Yeah. Or hey, oh, what's going on over there? And you knew you had to get moving then.
Yeah.
But guys like that, Mr. Hobby was cool though in a way because that way it gave you a little break. You went in the back and just talked trains or whatever, or muggings.
Yeah, muggings.
So
that was Mr. Hobby.
Now I'm going back to when I started. I don't know if you were there yet, but we used to have a couple that came in. A young couple that would come in like every Friday night and buy chains. Do you remember that? He had a briefcase.
I think it was before I was there.
All right, this dude would come in to Cons almost every Friday night religiously. Walk in with his girlfriend and they looked like gothic type kids. And he would have a briefcase, and Paulie would always be like, watch him, watch him. We thought he'd steal something in his trench coat or whatever. But they would come right up to the front and ask for like 3 feet of chain. Thickest chain that you have, cut it, give it to them, see you next Friday.
Wonder what they did with it.
Figured out one out, right?
See you next Friday.
I never asked any questions because I was kind of afraid of the guy. The guy was actually pretty tall and stuff, and and they were creepy. I mean, but to this, I always wonder what happened to these people.
Like, who are they chaining up in their house?
Yeah, 3 feet of chain, thickest you got. See you next Friday. That's it. That was one of the guys that, from when I started. I don't think you remember that at all. Oh, who else you got there?
Mr. Archery, do you remember him?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because you...
Short, little, fat guy, kind of fuzzy.
Right.
Talked real funny, and
Talked real funny, yeah.
Yeah, he used to just buy a lot of archery supplies, bows, arrows, and the one time I was just kind of egging him on because there was a deer right across the street in Fowler Field, the baseball field, and I just kept telling him, there was a deer across the street, and he's like, oh, I don't care. That's how he talked.
Yeah, that's how he talked, yeah.
I was like, no, seriously, there was a deer right in that field across the street. He's like, I don't care about no deer. And I was like, I'm being serious. There was a deer in that field running around in the baseball field. Finally, he had enough, and he was just like, I don't give a fuck about no deer.
I'm surprised he didn't pick you up and try to throw you.
Yeah.
Little guy.
So he said, I don't give a fuck about no deer. So that was Mr. Archery, just a little fuzzy guy.
You never knew these guys' names, did we?
No, not really.
These were guys that you never really saw around Berwick too much, but they would come in.
No, and after we left there, it's like you never seen them again around.
No.
It's like that was like a whole little country in itself.
It was like the Howard Stern Whack Pack.
Yeah.
As I like to say, these groups, these guys that we're gonna name off, that would come into cons. Like, I don't even think you have this today. Like at Ace, you're there now. I mean, do you have a group of characters like this anymore?
Yeah, there's some people that come in, not to the extent though.
Of having qualities like this.
Yeah. I mean, some like.
I mean, you get somebody that comes and tapes their bike together.
Next on my list is General Custer, and I just seen him probably a couple months back. He came in the store, in the Ace.
Now he used to live there, right next door.
Yeah, that's red beard, big burly guy.
We called him General Custer.
I don't know
well,
why.
Paulie called him that.
Yeah, Paulie called him.
We don't know.
General Custer.
Do we know his real name too or no?
No.
But he's not in good shape now, is he?
Yeah, he seemed to be.
Oh, is he? All right, I thought I saw him up at the retirement home.
No, he came in the store just a couple months ago.
Okay, General Custer.
Yeah, he used to, and then like after Paulie was deceased, he would come in, and Gabe was supposed to order something for him, and he would come in, and I'd be like, I don't think you got it yet, and he would circle right around, come down the middle of the store aisle, and without even pausing, just walk right up the other side and go back out. And
right.
This went on for like 2 years. Gabe was supposed to order stuff for him. Never came through, but
yeah, I don't know, some kind of train set or an engine, right?
Yeah, it was something to do with trains. Yeah. And Gabe's like, oh yeah, well, it's coming. I got it ordered. It's coming in.
I got my guys confused there when he said that. Yeah, I'm thinking of someone else that was out of retirement.
Oh, you're saying General Meade.
General Meade, I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
General Custer.
Howard Meade we know his name, Howard Meade.
Okay.
He used to ride his bike, he used to live in the apartments right above,
right.
And Mickey Talinka's apartments there right above where Snelling and H&R Block and all those other places that were in that building. He lived right above there.
General Custer, though, was a computer whiz.
He was?
Yeah, he knew everything.
I didn't even know that one.
Oh, yeah, he was a computer expert.
Oh, yeah, Custer, yeah.
Yeah, Custer. Back in the day, he was a computer whiz. I'm sure he still is today. But, yeah, you would see him come down the sidewalk, and you knew that it was, like, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he'd come walking in, and like Steve said, he'd just come walking in, and Gabe would say, nope, and then he'd just walk right out.
Walk right around.
And he did that every day for, like, every Wednesday for, like, a year, right? Or two.
Yeah. If Cons was still there, I have no doubt in my mind he would still be making that walk down the middle of the store and back up. I seen if it was there.
No doubt.
Like 11, 12 years later.
Nope.
Speaking of Mickey Talinka's apartments there, I don't remember if they called him anything, but the guy who threw a sink in the front street.
Doorman.
Doorman.
Doorman. Yep. Doorman. because we called him that because he would hold the door open for everybody out front of cons when they came in.
Just opened his window, took his kitchen sink,
And threw
and
it
threw it
out.
right out in the middle of Front Street in traffic.
He did that when I wasn't there. I was so upset that I didn't see it. But
He's also the same guy that when he come in the front door and just started doing push-ups, and Paulie was like, "Yeah, that's good."
yeah, he just started doing push-ups. He want to see how many I could do.
Paulie stood there watching him. That's good. That's good.
Man, that guy was like something. He rips the sink off the wall, dude.
And threw it out the window into Route 11. The Front Street is Route 11
I
in
mean,
Berwick.
we knew he was weird.
Busy
but
highway.
He wasn't a big guy either. So I don't know if drugs was a part of that or what, but man, to rip a sink off the wall and then throw it out in Front Street and cause a scene, cops were there. And I think that might have been the end of him, right? Like
Yeah, I think they took him away after that.
Yeah, that was it. Probably down to Danville State.
Yeah.
That was funny though. So doorman though, because he would seriously hold the and Paulie would come back from lunch, whatever, and he'd open the door for him. So, and then Paulie after a while kicked him out from doing that. So he didn't want him there. Doorman.
Also, I don't know if you remember him though, Dr. Gormley's son. I think he lived in those apartments. Another kind of creepy looking guy and a little out there, and he would just walk around the block there, you know, up around Wisnes and the back Orange Street side of Cons, and he would look for cigarette butts and he'd smoke the rest of them.
Man, I don't remember that guy.
Yeah,
I don't remember him.
creepy looking guy, and he'd walk around there all day just looking for butts that had a little cigarette left on them that people threw down, and he would smoke the rest of them. And then there was the clan across the street too that were on their porch all day.
Oh yeah.
Papa and Mama.
Papa and Mama. Man, what were their names? Don't even know.
I don't even know their names.
But
We call them a term that was could be construed as racist, but they weren't black.
Yeah. And you get the hint. They're on their porch all day. I mean, they were there all day.
We didn't mean it in a racist way because all these people were all white, but we just called them that because they were on the porch all day.
Papa Porch Monkey.
Yeah.
There, you could edit if you want. I mean, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's what we called them.
That's
We
what
didn't
we
think
called
nothing of it back then.
No,
But,
well, it's not racist anyway. They're white people.
yeah. But they were on their porch all day. And actually, that house is still there. Right across the street.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if
And-
that family still lives there or not, but
No, but the house is still there, and maybe even the porch swing's still there.
I know Papa died, and now Ben Duke died.
Yeah. Ben Duke,
He used to hang out there a lot.
co-owner of the
Well, he worked there. I don't think he told
Oh,
him.
I thought he
Yeah.
was-
Bruce Michael owned West Side.
West Side. Used to work. Ben Duke worked at West Side Gun.
Yeah.
Come into cons all the time. Another cool dude. There was nothing, anything weird about him, really.
Yeah. He was a nice guy.
He was a nice guy. Never gave me any problems.
Yeah. Frankie Keene is another big name that come in.
Your problem is you don't eat no jalapeno pepper.
Yeah. He claimed eating jalapeno peppers would cure cancer. He used to call me Pie
Pie eat what you know. I guess
because
that's
I'm from the wrong side of town. I guess they divided Berwick, the west side, and everywhere else in Berwick. And I was from the wrong side, so I was Pie Eater, or as he affectionately would say, Pie Eat. But
what was wrong with
He
that?
he just liked to get under my skin. I guess he probably liked me because they told me if he didn't actually like somebody, he wouldn't even talk to him.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
talk to you.
he would hold a grudge and not even talk to him. So he just liked to annoy me. That's all that was. But I used to have a picture of him. I wish I did because I'd put it on this video, but I don't have it anymore.
Crossing guard.
Yeah,
That's
crossing
really-
guard.
He was there every day.
He used to drive his motorcycle. Sometimes his mom would pick him up, who was like in her 90s, I believe.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
He had to be upper 80s or 90s.
Had a unique way of talking. Like you said, instead of saying pie eater, he'd say pie eat, jalapeno pepper.
Yeah, he had like a speech impediment. But
But he's cool.
shit too, he'd do.
He'd get on Paulie's nerves sometimes. Paulie'd kick him out, but
Yeah.
not in a meaningful way. He'd be like, "It's time for you to leave."
Mickey Sassini is another name.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Just recently,
Yeah,
right?
last year.
Last year. Boy, he was a ball buster. He'd come in and just bust you. Italian, typical
Yeah,
Italian.
I still remember
ball
he,
buster.
another crossing guard. He would come in, and whenever it started to get cold, he'd be like, "When there's frost on the pumpkin, it's time for a Dickie Duncan." That's his favorite saying when it started to get cold out.
That's a good one.
So that was
man.
Mickey. Dave Caraba, another one.
Oh yeah.
I remember I used to have to, part of my job description, I had to give them rides up to Ed Spencer's to play in the big money poker games.
Part of your job description.
And then one time when there was a bad storm, he lived in that trailer court behind Zeisloft, and his skirting blew under the trailer, and I had to crawl under there in the mud and
Wow.
get it out and put it back on for him.
Good job, Steve. Good job.
Part of my job description as a clerk.
Dave Caraba, boy.
Interesting guy though. He met Fidel Castro, pitched in the, or he didn't pitch, but he was an umpire in the minor leagues, I guess, and maybe some major league games.
Some major league games, yeah. That was
And
my
he-
dad's brother.
And he would, I guess he did a minor league World Series in Cuba, umpired it, and that's
that
where
what
he,
you're
yeah, he was down there umpiring something. So he got to meet Fidel Castro, and you still see that picture surface around Berwick sometimes, him and Fidel Castro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Haven't seen that one, but yeah, that's cool. Always walking around town smoking a cigar.
Yeah, and carrying a bag with him.
Walked everywhere, man.
I guess he had some kind of surgery, so he kind of waddled like when he walked.
Yeah,
He
you
had a-
could see Dave from a
He had
distance.
little steps, yeah.
And you know, it was rain, you give him a ride, but mostly he wanted to walk.
Which also brings up Johnny Penless. We call him Black Pants because he always wore those black sweatpants. And him and Caraba went from best of friends to enemies to friends to enemies. One would come in one door and the other would go out the other door. They just didn't want to be there at the same time.
Yeah. Pork chops, they call them too.
Yeah, pork chops and Black Pants.
I don't know why they call them pork chops, but we knew why they call them black pants. Just wore black pants.
Yeah.
All the time. Sweatpants.
And then there was Beanie Romeo.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's alive or not. I think she
don't
might have
even
passed
know.
away.
Yeah, I thought you told me she did.
Yeah, I think she probably did. But she was an interesting character. She'd come in and pay like 35 cents on her bill.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. 35 cents.
Yeah, I want to put 35 cents on my bill.
What was her bill at? Like, I mean, how high was it?
Probably maxed out at about $4.
Wow. 35 cents. I remember that too, because yeah, she would. Or whatever she had, quarter.
Yeah. And then there was Chester across the street. He was an awesome guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Chester. I thought I had his last name, but
I can't think of it now.
anyway, he was lived right across the street.
But yeah, he was a cool guy. I mean, I would have a cough and he would come in and he's like, wait, I got something for that. I'll be right back. He'd run across the street and bring me back Robitussin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. And I remember you saying you seen him, you were coming out of the fair, or no, he was coming out of the fair. You were going in one time. He's like, go in there and have fun.
Yeah, he was all ramped up.
And he'd always be out there shoveling with his trusty shovel that he used to dig foxholes with in World War II.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, this is my trusty shovel. I used to dig foxholes with this. He was just an awesome guy. I like Chester.
Yeah. Lived right across the street from Cons on Orange Street side.
So now, well, let's move on to some of the stories,
Oh God.
like the return policy. They would tell people when somebody brought something back, most stores just take it back. They would say, was this bought with the intentions of returning it?
I was like,
what does that even mean?
yeah. Yeah.
And then the one guy, I remember he said, I'm not leaving until I get a refund. And he stood there at the counter for like 4 hours, I think. Just would not leave,
Yeah.
stood there.
Yep. Stood there 4
So
hours.
yeah, interesting for a store to have a return policy, but it was an old school store, so they didn't like people
Oh,
bringing
he
things
hated
back.
it, man. He hated it, and you didn't get cash back. And everybody wanted their cash back, but you got store credit, and that was it. Or exchange for a similar one, or store credit, and people would flip out. I mean, they wanted their money back. That was, that was it. But Paulie was really, and actually, I just met somebody last week that didn't know that I was related to Paulie and stuff, and started going into trash mode a little bit on Paulie because of she was at the store trying to return something, and he was in the back yelling whatever, because he didn't want her to return it. He's yelling at Gabe, you know, make sure she has her receipt. What's going on over there? And all this other stuff, you know. And I was telling you that yesterday when our phone got disconnected, but yeah, they hated returns. Hated it. How about it when somebody would walk up to the counter and say, "I got to return this"? Well, I mean, you just sunk. Like you're like, oh no, because you had to get permission. Like Steve couldn't just return something.
This is gonna get good.
So, you know, that was terrible. But
then there was whizzes and coastal runs. When Paul would go out one door, we'd run up the back and like run to whizzes or run to coastal. And sometimes if he was coming back from the bank, you'd be like right on the corner, and he'd be coming through, and you'd be like, oh shit.
yeah.
You know, and you'd be like, what do I do? So I would like turn around and be like, you know, or just look down. Like,
I think he saw us. He would never say anything, but
yeah, he never, which is surprising. You would think he would have got on us about that, but he just never did.
yeah, he knew that we went up there. I think.
Another interesting thing would be like when he would watch TV. Like one time he had Kung Fu on, and he just stood there like mesmerized by it for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like,
it was awesome because it was quiet. Like you just, you know, you heard Kung Fu, and you saw Paulie just stand there trying to. It had this look like he was trying to figure out what he was watching. And
like
it was
he was like just focused on it too. He was really focused.
It was non-stop Kung Fu, and man, that's all you heard was yak, 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 and you saw Paulie standing there. And I remember like I was all the way on the bike side and looking at him, and he was just standing there like this, you know. Like, it was nice though. 15 minutes at least of quiet. I wasn't getting yelled at or told to dust. So.
Let's talk about Bankus and the car accident and the Call of the Wild.
Yeah.
Two different stories here. Bankus took a phone call, and I'll let you tell this one.
Yeah. Well, I was just.
Patty, you said her name.
Yeah, this lady called the store looking for Patty. You know, this is pre-cell phone days, so. Patty supposedly was coming down to the store to pick someone up. We don't know who she was. It was just some lady Patty. All of a sudden we get a call, you know, hey, is Patty there? Because this lady wanted her to pick something else up at the store. And Bankus is like, is there a Patty in the store? And he's like looking around, and he's like, hey Larry, is there a Patty in the store? And I said, no, but, you know, there was an accident just out front right now with a lady in it. You know, like, right out front there was an accident. On Orange Street side. So Bankus gets back on the phone and he says, you mean the one that just got in the accident? And the lady on the other end, you could just...
She was panicking. She was in an accident. Oh my god.
I'm like, Bankus, you don't say it like that. But it was so funny. I mean, this stuff like we're telling here is... I mean, you have to be there though, to experience it. Like, you may watch it and be like, oh, well, what's so funny about that? But when you're there and that's happening, it's just freaking hilarious.
And then the Call of the Wild, somebody called up and like, we had those like records or something for turkey calls people would play. I don't know, it was like some kind of record or something. And
I don't remember.
somebody was asking for one, and Banks was on the phone. He goes, is this the Call of the Wild? It just sounded hilarious when he said it.
And then that was like a long running joke then with them, right?
Yeah.
Is this the Call of the Wild?
Yeah, that was Bankus, though. He was funny.
Yeah.
And then
He hated the phone.
another funny thing, you and I and Gabe would walk out and like look up and point at the sky, and there'd be a line of cars stopped at the red light on Front Street, and we'd see how many we could get to roll down the window and look out the windows, and you'd see a whole line of cars. Everybody would be like rolling down their windows looking, and we'd stand there pointing, looking up at something, and I mean, nearly the whole line of cars would be like looking out, sticking their head out the window, looking up, trying to see what we were looking at.
I don't know if we would. Yeah.
I think we would just try to tally like how many cars we could get or something.
Yeah. I think we might have tried to. I'm not try, but I think we almost caused a few accidents. Because some of those cars were coming down, and we were like, you know, Gabe would do it really good. I mean, he'd walk right out there and look straight up, like real, and people would be like, whoa, what's going on
Gabe
out
would be
there?
like, what's that?
Yeah,
What's that?
and people would just like either roll down their window quick to look up or whatever.
Yeah, you'd see a whole line of cars rolling down their window.
Just funny, yeah. Just you get bored during the day there, so you have.
Which
to
also brings us
entertain yourself.
to another Front Street moment. Your collection of gum. Every day, opening the door, throwing out bubble gum. I mean, there must have been like a few hundred pieces out there, and your goal was to get enough gum that a car would get stuck in it. We never reached that level.
Okay. Well, we knew that car. Okay, that was the deal. But I think what they did is they repaved it, right?
I think so.
And we were just trying to like. I initially started it just to ruin the nice new pay job. So, and then it just was like, man, if I keep throwing my gum out here every single day,
Would it turn into like
I
a
made
bubblegum quicksand for cars?
Yeah, like this big bubblegum patch. And sure enough, I mean that was a nice new blacktop, and after we got done with it, it looked pretty bad because you saw all these gums.
Yeah, it was like all the same kind of gum too. They're all white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of it was the Gatorade gum that Cons had. We could tell this story now because nobody's gonna do anything. We would just take the Gatorade gum instead of buying it. Or I would at least. All that Gatorade gum, chew it, throw it out. It was the worst gum in the world. They still have it today. But
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't eaten that one. Another interesting story: the big fan in the front of the store. When people would walk by, we'd say, "Greetings, Earthlings."
God. Yeah.
And it would like distort your voice and make it sound like an alien.
It was a huge steel fan.
Oh, it was big. I wonder whatever happened to that. I wonder what Gabe ever did with it. Nice
Probably
fan.
sold it.
Yeah. But yeah, greetings, Earthlings. That was our famous line when people walked by. We'd say it into the fan. It would distort our voice, make us sound like an alien. It was really funny.
Yeah. We would still do it today if we had it. Showed you how much we grew up.
Another great thing at cons was Christmas Eves.
Christmas Eves were epic.
Epic.
Because it was just a big ass party.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't wait till we were 21.
They'd go get Susie's pizzas
Right.
with extra cheese, set them on the counter in the bike shop, and then set up a bar back there. And while we were at work, we could drink all day long as much as we wanted.
Right. Legal age.
Yeah. And Paulie brought a bottle of Crown Royal one time, and we drank the entire thing.
Oh my God. And I ended up uptown somehow.
And I remember Paulie coming back in the afternoon, and he was like, what happened to my Crown Royal?
Yep. Larry and Steve.
And then the one time, remember, he was really breaking down, and Bank was like, that's it, we're closed. Were you there then? Paulie was like...
Yeah, that was, yeah, I was there, yep.
Yep, and he was like really emotional about...
Something, yeah, Mona and...
Well, it was...
Or I mean his wife.
Yeah, his wife.
Oh, forgive me.
Yeah, he was really emotional, and Bankus just called it quits. He said, that's it, we're done for the day. Because Paulie he was drunk and got really emotional, upset, and it was Christmas Eve.
Remember to close down though. I remember
Yeah.
Bankus was like, no, we're out of here. We closes up early. But it was a good time to come into cons at Christmas Eve, not only to get free drinks, like all the customers could come in, get pizza.
Oh yeah, Chris Klinger, Wayne Bauer.
Wayne Bauer.
He was another big name there. And his brother Ned. Paulie'd be like, I'm not going out with him. No, you won't see me out with him no more. That's over. And every week he'd be out there with Wayne.
Every week.
And then Wayne and Ned would be out, Wayne and his brother Ned, and Paulie'd be like, Heckle and Jekyll. Because they'd be sitting on the bar stools right next to each other.
They trash each other, but they all loved each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all day. It was just a rotating of people coming in, getting food and drinks. And then it was also a good time to get bargains on stuff.
Yeah, people would be like, can I have it for this price? Paulie'd be drunk. He'd be like, sell it!
Sell it! What do you got on you? $100? $100? It's like a $200 item. So yeah, if you wanted a bargain, Christmas Eve was it, man. That was a good time to go there. It was fun. We couldn't wait till we turned 21. Remember, we were there for a few of them.
Yeah.
You know, beforehand, and we're like, man, we want to drink some beer. And 21 years old, man, we had a lot of fun then. It was very fun.
And how about Gabe and the giant popper that you throw down snaps?
Yeah, I mean, I tell the story 1,000 times.
Yeah, he had a pack of those snaps that you throw down, those little white snaps you throw down and they pop. And he was opening each one with a big like tissue, and he was dumping the little gunpowder seeds or whatever they put in those, and he was making a real big one. And he had quite a few already in there, a big pile of that powder.
Worked on it for hours.
Worked on it for hours, and pretty soon it just went
Days.
boom, and he turned around. It was just like you see in the cartoons. His face was all black. It just blew up right on him.
Yep.
And he just had black tissue and
Tissue
black
in his
all over his
mustache,
face.
and he looks up at me and he goes, "What the hell happened?" And I was just laughing as hard as I could, man. I was just.
Yeah, that was great.
He worked on that for days actually, because it was a big mound. and you know, he'd just take one.
Another similar story about Gabe. I wasn't there to experience this, but I remember he took a piece of that clear vinyl plastic tubing, clear tubing that we sold like by the foot, and he tried to hook it to the faucet in A and put a hose nozzle on it to wash vegetables down there. And that stuff isn't rated for pressure, and it just blew up on him and soaked him. I wasn't there to experience it, but I heard all about it.
Came back all soaking wet.
And what's another good Gabe story? Oh, Weichels, the hot wings. Did you ever hear about that?
Well, yeah, I might have. But...
He was eating hot wings at Weichels, and Brian McCracken was still alive, the guy who owned Weichels. And Gabe kept saying, more hot sauce, hotter, hotter. And Brian would put more hot sauce on it. And Gabe was like eating them, and he's like, more hot sauce, more hot sauce. And they put more hot sauce on it. And it was so bad, Laura was there with a wet cloth, like wiping his face, because Gabe was getting all red, it was so hot. On the way home, he shit his pants.
Probably burned a hole through him, too. That's great. Man.
Another thing, in the later years after Paulie was dead, General Custer came in and Gabe was showing him his 9mm, and boom, it goes off. He was behind the counter and it goes off. Yeah, in my general direction it goes off. And the lady was on the other side, comes walking from the toy side, and Gabe's like, those damn firecrackers. Because he didn't want her to know a gun went off in the store, but yeah, man, that scared the hell out of me.
That had to be something.
I know, you got any other things?
I mean, just funny stuff. I mean, like Gabe trying to, I wouldn't even know how to describe it. Remember the counter?
Oh, yeah.
And he used to try to go like this with his one leg, and then put the other one up there and just stand there like that.
Yeah. And see if he can like put his legs. I
like
forgot
this,
about that.
And then put the other one up there and just stand there. He'd be like, look, I'm doing it. He did that one time, and Father Mammarella came in.
Oh, hello, Father.
When he was doing that, so it was just odd. It was very awkward.
Isn't that what he said? He's like, oh, hello, Father.
Oh, hello, Father. And then he's just like, then what do you need? You just hurry up, went and...
So many things to remember there. Like the old slider car, you'd open the station wagon, you'd open it, and half a pound of rust would fall out of the door.
The ghetto wagon?
Yeah, the ghetto wagon.
We called it the ghetto wagon. Yeah.
Then they had the blue station wagon and Paulie's Lincoln. They used to hate to have to do in cons. Close that big door back by Bankas's Evinrude tank. That big.
Oh yeah, that big wooden door.
Thing weighed like a couple 100 pounds, and we'd have to pull it. And be like, ah.
Yeah.
Because they would open it during the summer, and it would have like a screen one.
Yeah, he'd sit back there and work on his mowers and motors and stuff, and let the exhaust
big,
go out
door.
that door, and then he had to close it every night. How long was Bankus there? 35 years?
Oh, it had to be like 50, I think.
But I don't know. I remember him telling me the story, like he was just walking past cons when he was out of high school.
Upper 40 years he was there.
Yeah, it had to be. And I said, how did you get the job here? And he said he was just walking past cons. And Con Delagrado, who originally owned the store, said to Bankus as he was walking by, hey kid, do you want a job?
And there it was, 50 years later.
Bankus wanted a job. He said, sure. Didn't think it would last long. Bankus was like, I'll take a job for a while. 40 years later, he was there. Never missed a paycheck. We moved locations.
Yeah, the rain was catching up with us.
I mean, just so much fun there, though. I mean, I remember like running up to Wiz's card shop, buying Eric Lindros cards.
Yeah, Eric Lindros. That was our retirement fund back in the day.
Yeah, we only get paid. I don't even know what I was getting paid then. I know my first paycheck ever was $40 from there, and I was in heaven. I was like, I remember Gabe counting $40 out in 10s, 10, 20, 30, and I was like, oh my God, I couldn't wait to get out.
That was another nice feature about cons. We could cash our check. We cash our checks right there. Yeah, didn't have to run to a bank.
Yeah. And but there was a point there where Wiz had his card shop up there in the corner, and he felt it was in my best interest and yours to invest in Eric Lindros rookie cards.
Because this guy was supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, I mean, it was $11 for the card. I think he gave us a little break on them.
This was like, what, 1992, 93?
Yeah, and like, maybe I had $20 in my pocket, and I'd spend half of it on Lindros cards. And I bought, I don't know, 10 or 15 of them.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and probably still have them somewhere. Not even worth a dime anymore, come find out, but You know, it is what it is. But Wiz, I want my money back. I'd love to have that money back now. $10
Yeah.
at 15. Really, I mean, that was like the best time in my life, like you said earlier
Yeah,
about the
90s
90s
were
being
like a-
great. I mean, it was just a fun time, and it was great to actually work there because it taught you a lot of things. Not only count money, but how to talk
Yeah,
to
and you
people.
could always go to Bankus for advice on anything.
Yeah, and like I would go to him with some stupid stuff, but you know, but it actually was good to go there because I didn't really when I was a teenager I didn't really have any I didn't really turn to my dad for a few things, but Bankus would always get the brunt of my stupid ass questions, so stupid life questions, and Bankus, you know, but I listened to him because he's been around forever, so I took his word as gold sometimes, and he got me through some stuff. Like, you know, growing up as a teenager, you got some problems and stuff, and Bankus would be like, you know, he'd get you on a level playing field after he talked to you. So it was good. I miss working. That's what I miss about it, like hanging out with Bankus and all those guys.
Yeah.
Bankus still around.
I still remember the thing, we'd always be like, Super Bowl, Banks is having a Super Bowl party, and he actually went out and bought stuff, and we never showed up because we were
We feel
joking about it. the
really
whole time.
bad about that one, Bankus. If this video ever gets out to Bankus, we
We were never serious about it. We didn't think he'd actually go out and buy stuff. I mean,
we always just joked around with Bankus. We're gonna have a Super Bowl party at your house
but
every
he would
year.
he'd always like,
Shit too.
yeah, shit too, we ain't having no party. And like, so, like, we never thought we actually should show up.
And the one year it was kind of serious. You know, you could tell he kind of was like, you know, taking it a little more serious. Like he actually wanted us to show up, but we still didn't think he was serious. You know, we figured he was just bullshitting.
Yeah.
We didn't go. We find out that he actually did bought stuff, and I think he had family there, but we never showed up to it. And we feel bad about that, Bangus. Wish we could make it up to you. But didn't we invite him up to stuff and he never...
Tell you what, Bankus, we'll show up at your house for the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, man.
Remember that
Just-
party we said we were coming to?
Just show up.
Woo, Super Bowl!
Oh, man. But you see him come in the store down at Ace, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
He's still kicking.
Yeah, he's still grumpy. He's like,
Still all grumpy
as soon as he
Bangus.
comes in, come on, I'm in a hurry.
But he's a good guy. I saw him when I was running in the Diamonds. He was up on Summerhill.
Did you stop and talk to him?
I just said hi to him quick, and that was it.
Bankus! We used to call him Banku!
Yeah, Dart and Darwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had nicknames too, and it was cool. He was a good guy. Really helped you out working there.
Oh, yeah. he
I
knew
didn't know
everything.
nothing.
He knew everything.
Hey Bankus, where's what spark plug do they need, or where's the? After a while, after like 3 years, he got tired of me asking me, "Don't you know this shit by now?" Actually, you know, we depended on him too much, probably. But
Yeah.
one of my other memories of cons, the hunting licenses I used to hate.
Oh,
doing.
man, to stand there for 8 hours writing those things out, your hand would just be dead.
You know,
Your hand would be dead.
people would come in and it'd be lined up, and you just stand there all day doing hunting licenses.
Oh, and fishing.
Yeah, and you were fishing, and you were bound to screw up something.
Yeah, after you do 1,000 of them, you know, your brain gets
You
a little
forget
fried.
to give them the doe tag
Yeah.
or whatever. Like I've screwed up, and I can't remember which one. I can't remember what I actually
Or if
did.
Or if you'd sell somebody a non-resident or resident license by accident. or something.
That's probably the one. Yep. I know I messed up big time, and Paulie caught it, and I got hell. Because I think it was a big deal for them because with the state and all involved.
Yeah.
So it was very important that you did them right, and you always had to ask for their driver's license. And I remember some people were they always
They'd always have a story like, "Oh, I just moved here, but I didn't get my license changed yet." And you know, you couldn't give them a resident license if
Right.
they had an out-of-state license. You had to give them a non-resident, and they'd all try to sell you a story. You know, when we're just kids.
or they were offended when you asked for their license too. Like, well, Kmart never did that.
Yeah.
Then Paulie would be like, well, Kmart's not doing it right then. Like, but you had to have your license. You had to put the number down. So I never understood when people gave us a hard time. But that was one of the things I used to hate doing. And, you know, and you always had Gabe watching over you, especially when you're first.
Okay.
Next one.
I still remember that big snowstorm. Gabe was like, take these out and mail them. That mailbox that was right outside on Front Street there. And he'd be like, go back and check the lid. And he sent you back like 3 times in the snow. You'd run back and like pull it down.
Check it again.
Check it again.
They were always afraid that the mail would not go down. But another one, well, the storm you were talking about, remember when Gabe would snow blow?
Yeah.
And it would go right
blow back in his face and his mustache would be all white.
Be all white with icicles hanging on it. This funny stuff. Gabe going to dinner, coming back smelling like he took a bath in cologne.
In cologne, yeah.
And he'd always have a sweater on, and we'd always say, that sweater ain't legal. He'd walk in like, and then it got to a point where he walked in and he would say, this sweater's legal. And he'd walk in like all
he still uses that line too, because I seen him in Tuesdays probably just a couple of years ago, and he'd be like, that haircut's not legal, because I got my haircut really short now. He'd be like, that haircut's not legal.
Crazy. Yeah, that was fun though. I mean, he made it fun too though. He had me run down, I'll never forget when he had me run down to KB Toy Store, because he was into collecting, what the hell were those? Starting lineup figures.
Yeah.
So he had me run down to KB Toy Store to buy some starting lineup figures. Paulie was in Italy on vacation. He'd go for like a month almost. But anyway, he's like, here's my credit card. Go down to KB Toy Store and get these starting lineups that I need. And he's like, here's my license too, in case they ask like for a license. And I'm thinking to myself, this ain't gonna work. Like, if I go there and they card me and I show them your license, we don't look anything alike, man. They're gonna call you. And then he's like, well, then I'll tell them that I sent you down there. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit, you will. You'll say, he has my what and my what?
He has my what? How did it ever turn out? Did you go?
Yeah, I went down to KB. I used his credit card. They never asked for ID, and that was it. I went. It was a real quick trip, back and forth. Maybe Paulie was still.
I would use his Circuit City card, and you give me his credit card to run up there. Because like in the later years, like when he didn't have the cash to pay me, he'd be like,
Con started.
Just use my card. I know you're gonna go up there and buy stuff anyway, so just use my card.
That's how he was paying Steve.
Yeah, and I'd go up there and buy whatever I wanted to buy that pay, and.
Yeah, I wasn't there then. I left. I can't remember when I left because I know I came back to help at Christmas once, but I guess 95 I left.
Yeah.
94. But it's sad to see it gone. Like
today. Yeah, now it's like a health and wellness foundation there or something it's called.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
it's something.
Cons went for sale when? What year was that about? I mean, Paulie passed away when?
Oh, 1998.
Right, yeah. And then what? 2000? When did they close?
2000. Well, Gabe fired me in 2003, and he went for like maybe a year or two after that.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
That I didn't know, dude.
It was just him and O'Brien, him and Jim O'Brien.
Okay.
I don't think he even had power in there.
No, I didn't. Okay, I remember now.
Yeah, I don't even know if he had power in there then. It was like all dark, or he didn't keep the lights on. And yeah, Bankus and I showed up about the first week in December. I guess it would be 2002, I believe. First week of December, and he's like, afraid I got to send you guys home. He's like, I don't have money to pay you anymore, but he says, I got everything set up for you to collect unemployment. And Bankus and I, like that, were canned.
Jeez. Yeah.
And he kept O'Brien. Him and O'Brien ran it for a couple of years. I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of...
Until he liquidated everything.
You know, Paulie passed away. There was a lot of things that were handled wrong. And, going around town and people that know me or whatever and related to Gabe or whatever, they'll say, hey, what happened to Cons or whatever. It's like a lot of people want to point fingers at Gabe for it. That he didn't run it right or whatever. But
you know, and some of that may be true, but a lot of it wasn't a lot of things weren't handled when Paulie passed away well. Like, a lot of things weren't set up right. And it almost got to the point where it wasn't in Gabe's best interest to keep it open. Like, you know, he was trying to sell stuff, but then he had to pay out to other family members so he would work all day while he had to send the money elsewhere too.
Yeah.
And it just got to a point where it wasn't fair to him. And, you know, eventually he had to, you know, he made some bad decisions, but he also made, you know, he made the decision to close it, which he had to do. And I just know I wanted my dad to personally buy that, and I kept bugging my dad about it. At the time when it was first up for sale, it was a little bit too high priced, and but I wanted my dad to buy it to bring it back to the Del Grotto name. Con Del Grotto had it. I felt, man, if I told my dad, I said, if you buy it, me and Steve will run it. You know, I just needed the backing, and it's one of the biggest regrets. I tell you all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest regrets I have is not being able to purchase that and keep it running. You know, we would have revamped it, done whatever we need to do.
Yeah, it would have needed a lot of work in there.
It would need all the work. And
make it more modern and more modern policies.
Right, and more modern, and we would have done it.
And we wouldn't.
And I'm telling you right now, if we had it today, it'd be a different story.
Also, I don't think they price their stuff outrageously high on some items. I mean, they just weren't competitive in a lot of things.
I mean, and that was the demise. You know, you started seeing it when Walmart came in Bloomsburg.
Yeah.
People, because Conn's had a big toy store section, and people used to come in there and buy toys for Christmas. But then when Walmart started coming in, what year was that?
Oh, that had to be early 90s.
Early 90s, Walmart came in.
Because I think when we were in like high school, we were like juniors, seniors when Walmart opened on Route 11 down there.
Yeah, so Walmart opens on Route 11 in Bloomsburg, and then people are getting a little, you know, wiser with their money, and then, or they would go down to Walmart and see a Barbie doll's $10, and at Conn's it's 18.
And some items Walmart was selling it cheaper than we were getting at wholesale.
Well, right,
so, I mean,
because
there's nothing we could do really, but
they're buying it in bulk. I mean, there was nothing you could do. The toy department in Conn's went downhill, but that used to be one of the biggest things at Conn's. Was Toyland,
yeah,
as it was called.
yeah, because there was that article in the paper, Conn's Toyland.
Yeah, it used to be huge, and my parents would go there when I was a little kid to go Christmas shopping, and be a long line of people. And it used to be a place to go, and Conn's was always known as the place to go for, if you can't find it, Conn's has it.
My Roddy Piper action figure or whatever, those WWF stars, I got it there. I couldn't find it anywhere, and they had one there.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that, man, or hardware. You couldn't find it anywhere, Conn's has it. At the time, I think, there was two big hardware store, Conn's and Sutter's.
Yeah, and I think there was like Noggles over in Escapade or something.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, wish we would have bought it.
Yeah.
Because I really think today we would have revamped it, and it would have been a different story in town. And
would have been interesting to know how we would have made out with it. But now we'll never know.
Yeah, it sucks. It bothers me to this day. But
well, I guess we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, that was a retrospective.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
If we ever think of more stories, maybe we'll do a volume 2. But
I could go on forever, but I'd be rambling. So Steve's gonna have a hard time editing. But we wanted to do this before our memory started
to fade
away, and who knows this is.
Because even now, my memories aren't as vivid as they were, like several years ago. Like kind of.
Yeah, I sometimes. When I was trying to think of stuff about it, I was like, man, did this really happen? Like, when did this happen? I can't remember. And but, I was going to go back as far as when Conn's started. I mean, Conn's was just a bicycle shop. And
oh, yeah, I got a picture of that. We'll put on some pictures that we could, on the end of the video, we'll put on some pictures that we could show you.
He has a picture of Conn's when it was just a bicycle shop.
I got just a couple inside the store. I'll post those on the video after the video, just so when you watch a video, you can see the pictures at the end.
The reason why we did this, we said, I think I came to you a couple weeks ago, and I said, man, I wish we took a video camera through Conn's before they destroyed it, before they tore it down, and just went through it and talked about this stuff that we're talking about now. we regret not doing that. That's another one of mine.
One more segment I'll edit in here. We actually had always talked about doing a reality show in there before reality shows were even existed, really. I mean,
I don't think, yeah.
yeah, I mean, we were like, man, if they put cameras in here, this would be an awesome TV show. And that's like reality shows were unheard of then. I don't even think there was any.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we thought of it, but I mean, we thought of doing a reality show there before it even became the end thing.
Yeah, I mean,
In fact, we even wrote a script years ago. We were going to
Yeah.
call it What's in Store, just like we wanted to make an animated show just based on our stories there.
in all, really what we had to do, like you said, was set up cameras in that place, though, and make a reality show because you had so many interesting characters. You had the drama with Paulie and Gabe constantly fighting.
Yeah, and Gabe and Bankus.
Gabe and Bankus fighting. Paulie and Gabe going at it like you would not believe because of father and son.
It seriously could have been
And-
bigger than Pawn Stars.
And you know, when I watched Orange County Choppers when it started, it reminded me of Cons because Paul Jr. and his dad were fighting all the time, and I'm like, this is Paulie and Gabe. So.
And that was our idea for the place before anybody was doing reality shows.
I think so. Yeah. We.
And you know, had we did that, that place would be famous. Probably still be there because people would be coming to buy stuff just because they saw the place on TV.
Yeah. Add that into my other regrets not doing. But if we had these cameras like today, like these GoPros and stuff, and we were able to do, you know, maybe we would be able to submit a show to somebody back then. But
Yeah.
like we wish that we had cameras like the cell phones with the video and stuff in the 90s so we can have memories of cons.
Yeah.
Because we don't have many pictures. You only have a few.
Yeah.
I have nothing.
If I could ever find more floppy disks, I got that disk drive to check them, but I don't know whatever happened to all of them. I used to take pictures on.
Yeah. So
Now I'm a lot more diligent about when I take pictures. I save them on my Flickr account. That way they're always there.
Right.
So like I don't want to lose pictures that I take.
Yeah. So I mean, we just wanted to do this video in case something happens to one of us too.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have us both telling the stories.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I'd be dead or something in a car accident and you're watching this. So you'll be
pushing
like,
up the daisies.
watch next week. You'll be like, man, I'm glad I recorded that, Larry.
Yeah.
Killed that accident last week.
So anyway, that's a wrap for Con Stories Volume 1.
See you next time.